Hello everyone, welcome, or welcome back. You are listening to Unfiltered with D and G. As in Dan and George, I am George, this is my co-host Dan.
All right, well cheers to the special edition of the coronavirus outbreak we're going to discuss. We're going to have our facts and opinions and where this world's going to take us. This is a special edition.
Special apocalypse edition.
A special apocalypse
Part
edition. Part one. I like that. Cheers, my brother.
Cheers, buddy.
Woohoo! Tastes good, man. So,
Okay.
I have to admit, I have my own fears about this shit because I don't believe the government.
You're not alone, buddy.
But I don't believe the government's telling us the truth. They want us to literally, barricade ourselves in and hope for the best.
They're definitely not telling us everything.
Exactly. They're hiding something.
Well-
Is it just the flu?
Well, here's the thing is, so one of the senators or whoever, there's a couple of them actually, that dumped their stock because they
Motherfuckers.
Because they knew something bad was going to happen. So, I mean, they're in an investigation right now. I don't know what's going to happen to them, but for them to do that and then at the same time say everything's fine, and for them to dump their stocks and publicly say everything's fine, but it's got to be something. There's got to be something that obviously they're not telling us because.
Well, I see two sides to that, though, because if you knew something that the economy was going to tank, just because you sell because you know the economy is going to tank is different than the actual virus itself. Like, for instance, if you can dump your shares and make a killing, I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like that's a bad thing because they had inside knowledge. I get it, but I mean,
it's
you're
called
not
insider trading.
Is that bad? Well, let's be honest,
I think
though.
that's why they have laws
But
against
again,
it.
well, then politicians should not be allowed to have any stocks or anything. They should not be allowed to. But let's just be honest. If you're allowed to have shares or stocks and you know something's going to occur, is it really wrong for you to dump your shares?
Well, so it's
It's a weird kind
I
of
feel
take.
like it's going to be hard to.
Why own if you can't sell?
I feel like it's going to be hard to prove. What they can
not
say,
against it, though.
What they can say is, and I understand. What they can say is, you know what? I'm just like anyone else. I see something bad happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to dump my stock. But to dump $1 point something million worth. You know what I'm saying?
And they made millions, no doubt, on their stocks
Well, I'm
that
sure.
they sold.
But here's the thing: is selling some stocks here and there, but dumping like $1 million.
But if they know it's going to tank, I mean, yes, that's insider information.
So they should have either also warned the people. Look, this is going to get bad.
Not allowed to do that.
Well,
Because they don't know it's truly going to get bad.
Right.
It's a very, it's a gray area because they have knowledge of stuff, but at the same time, they chose to get rid of it. If they're allowed legally to have that stock, then they are legally allowed to do whatever they want with it. That's the way I feel.
Yeah,
but again, that's the difference.
I understand. I
just think politicians shouldn't be allowed to own stocks.
Supposedly there's some kind of secret conversations between people. If there wasn't that, if there was just like, you know what, Mike, I think we should dump our stocks. Okay, you know what, let's take a chance and do it.
Yeah.
But when someone has proof of saying they have secret conversations between so and so and so and so, and then they dump their stock, and then they tell the people, you know what, there's nothing to worry about, but yet they dump their stocks.
Let's just agree that politicians should not be able to own stock in anything because then they have an interest in that.
Maybe
Why,
they
shouldn't be allowed
but
to.
they should have maybe regulations.
But how do you have like the people in power, the people that know, and they own stocks and stuff, and they know what's going to happen eventually? I mean, why would they hold on to it? Why should they be legally, like they have to hold on to stocks that they know are going to plummet? They have that information. Why would they keep it? I think in the future they shouldn't be allowed to have any interest in anything. They should be paid a fair wage like the rest of us, $7.25 an hour, and not be allowed to own stock and then dump or buy or whatever. But even millionaires today, right now, millionaires are buying into our stock market because they know it's going to bounce back. They have the funds to do it. They're buying in for cheap, and they're going to make a killing of what?
You know what's funny?
It's fucking
I'm gonna
pisses me
look
off.
it up right now. I looked up. Well, maybe I could buy some stock, and I looked up Amazon's. You know how much Amazon?
Unaffordable still.
It's amazing. Amazon stock.
$200. Wait, not even two. It's got to be like $1,200. $1,200 is one share. One share.
Currently, Amazon stock right now, March 23rd, 2020, is $1,902.83.
Unaffordable to anybody. So you're going to spend $2,000 on one share.
And then at its lowest point, which was,
Right.
I don't know, a week ago, was like $1,700. Still at $1,700.
Only the rich.
It's amazing that
So
when the stocks tank and it's still at $1,700. That's
per share.
That's amazing to me.
So 2 shares. You're at $4,000 basically with fees or whatever.
I mean, the stock now I think is probably like the produce and stuff. I think could be good.
Well, but only the wealthy they have the money to buy stocks. So
Right.
the rich keep getting richer and the poor get even fucked.
The wealthy would make more money in stocks,
But the poor don't make anything.
right?
So,
Because they can't buy.
right.
as
But
many
right
stocks.
now the poor, we're all hoping for a check for about $1,200 from the government.
That's that's not even passed
It
yet.
hasn't passed because they're all a bunch of cocksuckers because the rich are holding on to it because they can't come to terms. But think about it. What's $1,200 going to do anybody?
Exactly.
It helps for a month.
Exactly.
1 month.
Yeah.
Then what?
And then how are they going to scale that to, let's just say, half of the American population, which would be, 150 million?
Yeah.
I'm just saying because, there's going to be kids and that aren't going to be eligible, but a family is going to be eligible. So let's just say 150 million households at 2,000 each for 1 month.
Then that's it. And then what?
Exactly.
Next month, the following month, then what? And do you think all of these people are going to pay their bills with that $1,200?
No.
No, they're going to shop and then they can't even pay the rent.
Well,
the
they're going to
mortgage.
hang on to it because they don't know what's coming.
How can you hold on to it? It's only $1,200. That's a lap dance and a half. I mean, really, seriously. When you think about it, it's really not life-changing money.
No.
And there you go. But by the second month, then what?
And then it adds $1 trillion something plus to
our
the deficit.
Absolutely. But who's getting that money? I don't even think it's the... All right. So if you give every citizen in the United States $1 million, what does that come out to?
Well,
There's 330 million people.
mine is kids. So let's just say half, 150 million times. What do you mean? You're going to give someone $1 million?
It just seems like if every adult,
that's a little-
but if every adult had $1 million,
Like a gajillion, bajillion dollars.
Is it?
Like,
All right,
like
but if
Austin
you-
Powers. I
$1 million. No, but if you gave every adult $1 million, and there's 300 million people.
Why would you give an adult $1 million that they don't even make $1 million in their lifetime?
No, but the concept behind it is we can afford to do that, and it seems like instead of bailing out everyone,
What if we can afford to do it?
well, our country could do it. We can do anything. We just print it. What I'm trying to say, though, we can afford to help people, and yet we have homeless, we have people in poverty, and
We can't afford to help people now. How are we going to afford to help people?
I don't know.
That are
This
not
is
homeless?
crazy. These are unprecedented times. We don't know where this is going, but yet industries are there. Everyone's closed. So right now, the best industry to be in is
Yeah,
Walmart.
It's amazing.
A grocery
This is
store.
100% closure right here. Your business is closed. My place of
Oh,
work
we're all
is
done.
closed.
We're homeless. We're sucking dick on the corner next week. $20 on the corner of First and Third. But it's crazy. Where's life taking us?
Well, I just don't see where it's going to when it's going to bounce back.
How
It's
can it?
not going to bounce back just like it was before in a couple of weeks. Like they
It's
want
going to
us
be months.
It's going to be months.
Not even bounce back before we're even back to work.
Because it's going to be a vicious cycle.
It's horrible.
People don't have a job, so they're either not going to spend money, and if they want a job, people aren't going to hire because those businesses
Can't afford it.
don't know where the economy is going to go, so they're not going to hire right away. So it's going to be like people don't have jobs because people aren't hiring, but people aren't hiring because no one's spending, and no one's spending because people don't have jobs. So where's the cycle going to end?
Right into the shitter. Our lives are over. We just don't know it yet. It's over. I mean, it really is. I don't think I think this is post 9/11. Life is going to change in so many ways that we don't even see it yet. We don't even comprehend it yet. Life is going to change.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Life
Industries,
is going to change.
restaurants, bars, anything with mass population, occupancies are going to be lowered. The social distancing, we're not even going to be allowed to handshake anymore. That's going to be something weird. No more hugs.
Right,
it's
right.
bumps. It's we're going to bow like the Chinese or the Japanese or whatever. We're not. It's going to years from now we'll look back and go, this is where it took a turn. It's going to happen. Toilet paper is the new gold.
Unforgettable for sure.
Gold means nothing. You can't wipe your ass with gold. Toilet paper is the new commodity.
gold?
I'm telling you, it is. It will be. Yeah, I honestly believe you could trade a roll of toilet paper for sex.
Yeah, but I think once people start installing bidets in their toilets, I think the toilet paper issue will.
But now you have to install a bidet. You go out with the garden hose.
You know
just
what?
fucking clean your asshole out. I'm telling you, it's
I'm
going to be
starting
changing.
investing in garden hoses and spouts.
But the bidet is an interesting concept. But I mean, I do think life is going to change like 9/11. Now, when 9/11 happened, you were a young man, but you remember life changed slowly.
I remember exactly the day where I was.
Where were you at?
We were at Adam's house.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I was
Adam
sleeping.
started knocking on my door. The world's coming to an
I'm
end.
fucking
We're
drunk.
under attack.
Leave me alone.
I'm like,
That's exactly where I was.
let me sleep.
We were celebrating that cocksucker's birthday, September 10th, and then the next day, it was unbelievable. I didn't even believe it, and then everything was grounded. But life changed, and that was only one city.
Oh, yeah.
But we united as a country,
Right.
and for about 30 to maybe 60 days, and then it bounced back. But now everything's
the whole
affected.
world.
Way
The
different.
whole world.
But every industry in our country is affected. Every industry.
I just don't see how it's going to bounce back at all.
I don't see. It's going to take years.
Because they need. So from what I hear, is the reason we're doing this lockdown, quote unquote lockdown thing, is to reduce the curve, right?
That's it.
Because they don't want to spike the infection rate, and they don't want to overload the health facilities.
That's all it's about.
So here's the thing. They need to make more health facilities. They need to crank out more health workers and crank up health facility places. Without
Sounds
that,
good on paper.
Without that,
Just crank it out.
when
Let's
are we
blame
gonna,
Trump when it
it's just
doesn't
gonna
happen.
we're just delaying the inevitable because there's people like this guy. Just recently, I found out he got tested for corona and it was tested positive, and he goes to Walmart on purpose and trying to infect people. So there's going to be
Try to do it?
and that's
Fucking prick.
and that's just one person that we
Right.
know of. There's tons of people like that.
There's
just
no
idiots.
stopping it.
And then people that, here's the thing. I questioned why we were doing it because I didn't know. Like, okay, after 2 weeks, are we just going to go back to what we're doing? What happens when, is everyone just going to go back to gathering in crowds and gathering and shaking hands and stuff? So someone at work told me, which made sense, if everyone does it in 2 weeks, because the life of the virus only lasts for 2 weeks. So if everyone quarantines themselves for 2 weeks, absolutely quarantines, like 300 million
Won't
people.
happen.
Exactly. So if everyone
Actually follow the CDC rules.
This is in the perfect world.
Sure.
If everyone quarantines himself 2 weeks, the virus will just die in that 2 weeks.
Never happen.
They won't be able to transfer to anyone else and keep on living.
Right.
Obviously, that's not going to happen. But that did make sense.
Makes perfect sense.
And I was
just like
wondering,
if we don't
why?
commit murder, there'll be no deaths.
Right.
From murder.
Right,
It
for-
doesn't
for the
happen.
2 weeks, right.
If nobody drinks and drives, there will be no DUIs, and it doesn't happen.
Right.
And that's the problem. Have you seen the photos of the people in California and Florida? They're on the beach.
yeah.
It's party time.
Oh, well, then you have these guys that are testing
gonna
positive for corona, and they're going to Walmart on purpose.
They don't care.
So
I know.
So it's not going to happen. So obviously, this lockdown is going to extend for more than 2 weeks.
As a humanity, as a people, as species, we're there to kill ourselves off.
I'm lucky enough to have a workplace that pays us for another
For how
month.
long, though?
Another month, and that's it.
That's it.
There's no guarantee
There will
after
be
that.
exactly. I'm in the same boat.
Actually, there's not even that. There's absolutely, after a month from now, after April,
Changes.
They said, you know what? You're on your own.
This is the
And
beginning of the end.
We're lucky enough to have it extended that much. Some people,
Right.
like your work, you just lay them off.
That's it.
And right now, you don't have any employees, right?
I have 4
are
people on my
retained?
management
Okay,
team.
okay.
But over a period of time, they will lower their pay and
Sure,
then be gone.
sure.
I'll be the last to be let go.
Of course.
When I'm let go,
You're
then
the captain of the
obviously
ship.
it's unemployment, and then that'll last maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And by that time, I'm going to be feeding on my neighbor. I'm going to cook him in my grill and really be wiping my ass with their neighbor's cat.
That's when.
But think about it.
Not pandemonium, but that's when.
Anarchy. Total
That's
anarchy.
when anarchy starts.
It will, and I believe it's going to happen.
And I'm not against guns, and I'm not for guns. I don't own a gun, but actually,
gonna happen.
I actually considered buying a gun the other day.
I don't know how you don't. You can bunker up here at my place.
I might have to rent a gun from you.
I'm telling you. No, I just
And
give
there's
it
no
to you.
ammo. There's
you
no ammo.
You
Even
get
if
the
I
front
had
door.
a gun, even if I had a gun, there's no ammo for it.
But I'm telling you, I honestly believe this is ground zero. This is the beginning of the end. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying we're all going to become fucking zombies, but the economy is going to crash. And even if it rebuilds, it's going to take years. But the 80% of the population is going to be fucking broke and desperate and in despair. And they're going to be, what happens when everyone's broke? More crime. There's going to be more violence. There's going to be more people hungry. And it's going to happen. There's no stopping it now. The lid is off. There's no stopping. I feel so passionate about this.
It sounds so scary.
It is. That's what when I preach this shit, and people look at me like I'm crazy.
Well, I mean, we're not trying to spread fear.
No, but we have different points of view, no doubt.
We do have to see that side of it. That could be a possibility.
I don't see how it can't be, because the government, if they give you $1,200, it's going to last nothing.
That's if it passes.
And
That's
these
if
are
it
people,
even passes.
but morons out there are going to go shopping.
Right.
They're not even paying their bills.
Right.
At some point, it's like, I'm hungry. There's no food. I go to Walmart. I went 5-6 times in the last 8 days. There's nothing I want to buy.
Yeah, I buy some canned beans and rice.
Okay, but
That's
how
what
long
I
does
eat.
that last?
Oh well, it's going to last
A week or two. But I'm just saying.
I think the amount I bought is going to last me probably 3 months.
Then what?
Oh well, then anarchy.
What I'm saying is, at some point, I have maybe 18 days left of toilet paper. Then what? What am I doing? Leave?
It's amazing about the toilet paper. That's another phenomenon.
I don't get it myself.
That has come up. I have never heard that in my 40 years of
life.
I'm 47, but just 40 years of what do you call it? The intelligent life.
Well, all right.
Because the first
never been done.
The first few years, you're just a little kid and you're oblivious to everything. But from then on, you remember things like little
Sure.
kids are going to remember these days. Like, oh my God, remember that time when
Yeah, they're gonna stockpile toilet paper
I was
growing up.
5 and the toilet paper ran out. Everyone's got to remember that.
I literally will stockpile toilet paper now for the rest of my life. I will always have, bundles of it. But again, it's so true. I can't find toilet paper.
The thing is, okay, so
What do you wipe your ass with?
well, if you install a bidet or some kind of hose system,
Who's investing that kind of money when everyone's out of a
You
job?
spray your ass and you wipe your ass with a hand towel, and you clean
I will
that
go
hand
to my
towel.
yard and I will blast
at
it
the-
with a garden hose.
That's a worst case scenario. You run out of toilet paper, you
All
can
right.
still clean your ass with a hand towel
I'll
and
give you
wash
that.
it. Wash
I'll
it
give
with
you that.
hot water, whatever, burn it, whatever you want to do.
Well, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world with the toilet paper. It's a convenience.
It is.
It's a major convenience, but you will survive with a hand towel and some water.
I guess it becomes something like when toilet paper is no longer available, it becomes something we're no longer civilized. And I think that's what it is. We're no longer civilized because now we're doing things
yeah.
uncivilized people would be. Now we're back to monkeys with leaves and fucking water sprouts. you know what I'm trying to say? We're no longer civilized. So when the toilet paper goes, it's the first ground zero of this is where it became anarchy. We're no longer waiting in lines. We're now killing each other on the streets. I fear for the future. I've been preaching it for a while. It's coming.
It's not very promising. You know what? Bill
fearful.
Gates actually predicted this in 2015.
He's a billionaire. He can do anything he wants.
Well, I mean, he released a video on YouTube about how the healthcare system in America, or basically anywhere, is not prepared for a pandemic. And here it is. It was 2015, 5 years
Sure,
ago.
I'll give you that.
And the thing is, people probably predict stuff all the time. When it's going to happen,
When they're right, then
when
they're
they're right, they're geniuses.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. But when they're wrong, obviously, that kook. He
Right.
did this 20 years ago and nothing's happened yet.
Right.
But he was absolutely right. Our healthcare system can't handle.
I agree. But when you have 330 million people in America, how can you ever be prepared? Now, are we supposed to have warehouses full of respirators and hospital beds? And then what? It's like saying you were a former police officer. If there was anarchy, are you going to have 4 officers to every vehicle, 20, like before the anarchy happened, so you're properly prepared to deal with this stuff? You have 1 officer per vehicle, and that's the way we run life.
We've actually never.
Have you even had 2?
In my 7 years that I was in there, we've never had anarchy training.
There you go.
We've never had
But yet-
we never had a subject where, you know what, this week we're going to deal with anarchy and what happens when people.
But I'm passionate about this one.
We've
even.
done riot training a little
Okay.
bit but that doesn't even come close to anarchy training.
I've never been an officer, but let's just say, if looking from the outside, if every police officer vehicle had 4 officers in a vehicle, so when the shit hits the fan, you're properly prepared with a fucking team. You pull over someone, whatever the case, they don't even do 2, but let's just say, why not 4 per vehicle? So if you have to arrest somebody and they're bigger, stronger, and crazy, you have 4 people in your vehicle, 4 cops, and you could easily take care. But we all know the budget is for 1 officer.
Well, sure.
But what I'm saying is,
I mean-
this is what I'm trying to say is, why not prepare? Why not have 4 in every vehicle? They don't, because it's all about money. It's all about money.
You know, I watched.
Not even 2, but 4.
I was watching World War Z last night.
Love it.
And he was in that grocery store and he just shot someone.
Yeah.
And here comes this police officer running towards him.
Just
but
gets out of the way.
he passes him because he needs to get his food.
He don't give a
he,
fuck.
He was raiding
Yeah.
the grocery store himself. But I mean, if
That's what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is, there's right now today. Forget the pandemic. If you wanted to hold like society and life be, there's no longer that 1 cop against a criminal. The cop is safer. There's 3 other people looking. Why don't we do that? Why not 4 per vehicle? Because it's a waste of resources.
Obviously, yeah, it's a waste of resources.
That's how you view it. I look at it: safety for the officer, safety for the civilian, because you have 4 people unless they're all in
But
cahoots.
they're going to do priorities. They're going to do, just
why?
violent crimes. Basically, they're not going to worry about
Cops would
pulling
be
people
safer,
over.
civilians would be safer. You had a team of 4 everywhere you go in that, but they don't do that.
It's going to be. I mean, right now, I'm sure they're shorthanded, just like every city.
But just
so 4 per quadrant of city. So they're going to be handling. So instead of 2 cops handling 1 incident, now you got 4 cops handling 1 incident. And what happens to like this other murder over here?
They'd have 4 in every vehicle. They'd have before. But what I'm trying to say is, it's a way of thinking to break the cycle of, if every vehicle had a team of 4, they would be safer.
Sure,
And
of course.
the pedestrian, in a sense, would be safer. There would be less time to wait for backup. But you have a team of 4, everyone's safer. Not 1 cop is going to shoot someone in the back because you have a team of 4.
Well, here's the thing. So if you have 4, that's the max capacity of that vehicle. Where's a prisoner going to
You
sit?
call them a paddy wagon. They used to call them a paddy wagon. You call them, they get scooped up. But what I'm saying is, everyone's safer.
Of course.
Okay, but now what I'm saying is, after this thing blows over, are they going to literally, the government have warehouses full of supplies, from bottled water to sanitizer to respirators? Are they going to learn from this, or what? Now, in the past,
I'm
now
sure they
people
are.
are criticizing even Trump. He wasn't prepared. He knew. What did he know? Did he expect
It's always
this?
Monday.
Exactly.
What do you call it?
Quarterback.
Monday night quarterback. Monday
morning quarterback.
morning quarterback.
Yeah, it's easy to say what you
Yeah.
should have done, but at the time, they don't know.
When he closed down down the border.
Yeah, he's a racist.
From Europe.
Yeah.
He's like, well, Europe didn't even get a warning. It's like, well, he had to shut it down right then and there. Of course, we know that now, and no one's going to praise him for it because now everyone's saying, why didn't he do it sooner?
Exactly.
He just can't do anything right.
He can do nothing right. He closes it down too early, he's a racist.
Right.
Closes it down too late, he didn't give a fuck.
Right.
I totally get it, man. I feel like that in my relationship. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm wrong. Yeah, I completely agree. It's crazy, you know. But Trump can do no right in the eyes of some, and no wrong in the eyes of others.
Oh, here's another thing I thought about the other day. Who's going to want to take this on? Like the presidential candidates?
Yeah.
Basically, what was it, Bernie Sanders and
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I bet you right now they're going, you know what? I really don't even want to be president because I don't want to inherit this.
Yeah.
Who's going to want to inherit it?
That's true, but
Trump's probably saying to himself, God, I wish one of them was going to win because I don't want to deal with this anymore.
I honestly believe even with the economy going into the shitter, most people are going to feel sympathy for Trump, and they're still going to vote for him. They're not going to blame him for this bullshit. He's awesome on the mic when he's talking to the crowd. He really is.
Well,
he really is awesome, man.
You know, when I listen to him, he says a lot of fluff. He really just kind of says, and he says it over and over, the American people, you guys are doing great. Everyone here is doing great. My administration is doing great. Everyone's doing fantastic.
Right.
And then we're going to make billions. And we're going to make billions and billions, and this economy is going to do great. In fact, it's going to do better than great. It's going to do the best ever.
Right, that's what he does.
Yeah,
it is good.
He always exaggerates things, but that's all he kind of does.
He's an entertainer. He does the fluff, but still, he'll call you out on your bullshit.
Oh, and then the top medical guy, Dr. Fauci or whatever.
Yeah.
Supposedly he's banned from doing public speaking anymore, and because supposedly he's saying that this isn't going to work. This is going to be bad and it's going to get worse. So that's the excuse. I bet you he doesn't do any more public speaking because Trump saw the video of him shaking his head and putting his hand on his forehead going, what did you just say?
I agree.
I bet you he saw that video and the people saying stuff about that. He said, you know what? You're making me look bad, which I understand. You really shouldn't do that to your leader,
exactly.
Especially in public. You shouldn't downplay, no matter how bad your leader is, you should always kind of back him up to instill confidence in the public.
I totally agree.
You can't as an employee or what do you call it, as a member of your team,
sure,
can't oppose your leader.
You gotta have unity.
You gotta have unity
absolutely.
within the leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you go on TV and you shake your head and you put your hand and you face palm yourself, that just makes his job harder, for one, and then two, it doesn't look good for the team.
That's true.
So I understand if Trump does that, he's like, you know what, you're not allowed to do that. You're not even allowed to be in public anymore.
Make me look bad.
Because you make me look bad. And unfortunately, even if he's like the top guy we should listen to right now, I understand why he would kind of do that. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is on that one.
Well, I just know life is changing as we're even talking. It's never going to be the same. I don't see any businesses really recovering to full capacity when this is over. I think, there's going to be different standards. I think there's going to be this social distancing for a long time. And I think people are going to be growing up in a world where we don't shake hands, we don't hug. We sit far away. We don't stand so close together. And they're so already in this technology that now we're going to be socially distancing ourselves in reality. And now it's all going to be, everyone's doing the FaceTime. Yeah. It's changing. I mean, it's changing and we don't even know it.
Eventually, we'll all be immune to it. That's what they call it, mass immunity. Or
all right. But it's changing, and I see it changing.
After everyone goes through it, just like the flu, we'll just go back to normal. Everyone just
But what's normal?
Hug again, especially I
don't think normal, the new normal, there's going to be a new normal. And I don't think the normal that we grew up with.
To strangers, maybe. But to family, I think families are still going to hug. And
yes, families, close friends, stuff like that. But it's going to get weird. For instance, our normal growing up is not the same normal of people growing up today. I mean, they're more into technology and texting. We didn't text when we grew up.
Right.
We called.
Yeah.
And so the new normal after this is like the new normal of 9/11 from mostly TSA and security and stuff like that was different. That became the new normal. Now the new normal is going to change. It's going to be different in public. I really believe that some industries are never going to recover, not fully. They might exist, but they're not going to fully bounce back. That's my opinion. I also think just the way kids are growing up, if they might be at a certain age, maybe, not if you're too young, you won't know better, and too old, you're like, eh. But there's a certain age that's going to, like 20 years from now, they're just going to be that weird gap that they act differently. just like people growing up today with, you know,
Right.
when you're 4 years old, growing up with the information on your fingertips, you're going to grow up different than we grew up.
Right,
It's just different, and it's not right or wrong. It's just different. Like, we'll be the old timers one day, and we won't even understand the way they're acting and the things they do. And, you know, I mean, I don't want to get vulgar and like craziness, but there were things we can do as a kid that you can't do now. Now it's socially unacceptable. Society has changed. The norm has changed.
Like what? Like what? What do you?
Well, I mean, just harassing people. When we were growing up, you can actually harass somebody, but it was considered fun. It was fun, you know.
So bullying.
Yeah.
I remember. So I wasn't a bully myself, but I didn't. But I laughed with the bullies.
Okay, so you
because,
didn't protect the underdog. But
yeah. So unfortunately, there's these, a couple of girls in my, was it fifth grade?
Sure.
And these two guys just, they kept, they called them ugly, and one of them actually accidentally broke their nose because, well, they were playing around too. Like,
Sure.
like she was chasing after this guy, and this guy was running away because he was calling her ugly, and she was wanting to get close to him because she wanted to egg him on, going, oh, I'm ugly, oh, here I come.
Sure.
And so he turned around and slapped her with his leather glove.
Yeah.
It was kind of winter at the time.
Sure.
And broke her nose.
But now that's a hate crime. He
my
does
God.
30 years in jail.
But before then, I would kind of join in and kind of laugh, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
But today, that's a hate crime.
Oh, absolutely.
He can serve the rest of his life in jail.
I absolutely know it was wrong. It was wrong back then. It's wrong now. And
But back
the
then,
thing
was it wrong?
But here's the thing:
That's
that
society,
I
the
think-
norm.
I think there's always going to be bullies.
Always.
No matter what.
Always. But now it's weird because when we were kids, when you got bullied, it kind of turned you into a man. It turned you into it gave you more character. It turned you into more of just a man.
Well, you hear-
turned you into a person.
You hear stories now. Well, of course, there's that's probably
Bunch of
one
pussies
in
now.
a million. But you hear stories now where, oh yeah, it's mostly successful people.
They
But
were bullied.
Back then, I was bullied. I was called names. People told me I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that.
Right.
And so, of course, that gave them strength to do whatever they were doing. And then now they're this successful person. But that's still not right. Obviously, you can't just let's start bullying people so that they can be successful. I almost wonder what would have happened to that person if they weren't bullied.
I agree, but today, I just think that there's a certain. Remember that movie, A Few Good Men? Code Red.
Yeah,
Remember that?
right,
It's like you turn your cadets or your entry level guys into men.
Right.
People are killing machines, and without that, you just what are you gonna have? A bunch of guys? Oh, you can't do the run. Okay, sit down. I mean, you have to push them
Right.
and make them better, and without bullying to some level.
Okay, so
you have to push people.
I do understand about the pushing, but the thing with A Few Good Men is he actually had a medical condition, and if they would have looked into that,
We didn't know that.
but that's why he got convicted, is because they proved that he did this wrong thing. If he would have just said, you know what, let the doctor look at him.
Sure.
Okay, he has this condition. Let's not push it that far.
But you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, the thing is, that's the rare case. But let's just say
Sure.
out of 100 people.
You can't baby everyone.
But you have 100 kids. One kid has that, whatever problem. All right, the weak die off, and the rest advance. They get better.
I think that's what's
Remember that
happening.
movie 300? Right? From birth.
From birth, they throw him away.
They discard the weak.
Right.
Any problems with the infant,
Right.
we discard. And then that's why they raise strength and power, and that was beautiful. And I get that. But today, think about it. When I hope we're still alive in our 80s and 90s. But I do fear for the younger generation because once again, we're raising a bunch of pussies. That's the bottom line.
Right.
I mean, they don't even know how to find answers because they're going to touch it. They don't know how to read a map. They just Google. Everything's on their phone. If technology ends today, that's it. Like if something happens, they won't know how to do anything.
Right.
That's how I feel. And I'm only halfway there, but I lived before technology, and I'm not even into
Sure,
technology.
you're a little more resourceeful than someone.
Absolutely, 100%. And they're so I was a loser growing up in a sense of I didn't win every competition. If you're not a winner, you're a loser. That's it. That other movie, right?
What was that?
The driving one.
Yeah.
The Talladega Nights. Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
Yeah. You're either a winner or you're a loser.
If you ain't first, you're
You're
last.
last. That's it, and that's the truth.
Oh.
That is the truth. Anybody that tells you
Right.
different is full of shit.
Right.
You're a winner or a loser. I don't, and I just had at a conference actually. I had a good meeting, but I don't give participation trophies because I don't believe in them.
Well, you shouldn't.
I don't even get
because
it.
Then people start expecting that.
I ain't
and
rewarding failure.
They don't push further. They don't want to improve because you know what? I'm gonna get an award anyway.
Fuck
so
that.
why am I gonna? Why am I gonna? It's kind of like when I was. This is bad. when I was working for the city,
Yeah.
I was getting paid per hour. So this next person next to me this person next to me is going to get paid no matter how much harder I worked. They're going to get paid the exact same way. So why should I work harder than this person?
I don't get it. There's no incentive.
There's no incentive.
I agree.
So so basically,
whether you're first or last, you're getting paid the same.
Exactly.
No incentive.
So I didn't try any harder.
I don't blame
which
you.
Is
one
bad.
bit.
Which
but
is
yeah,
bad.
and you get your life on the line. So why should I really put my life on the line?
Right.
I can put my life on the line. Let's just say $15 an hour. I can put my life. I can be safe and get 15, or I can put my life on the line and get 15.
Right.
What the fuck do you think I'm gonna do?
Right.
I'm gonna play it safe.
Yeah.
And then and then if you get hurt on the job, they let you go.
Right.
Your career's over.
Yeah, basically.
So why would you even do that?
Right.
It's an incentive not to get into the shit.
Right.
It's crazy. This world's crazy. But with Corona now, this is changing the life. Because I'm telling you, there's going to be changes in our economy, in our lifestyle, and the way we operate. People are going to have a bubble. You know, every industry is affected. You want to take a cruise ship for $40 a day now? You probably can do it. I don't even know if I think they're all grounded, right?
The airlines they want to bail out.
Decimated.
They want to bail out.
They're gone.
And if they don't get a bailout, they're going to lay off all these people.
I think they already did
And
by
then
now.
who's gonna fly the planes? Who's gonna clean
They're
the
all
planes?
gone. It's
So
all
now
gone.
there's gonna be less travel. But then who's gonna want to travel anyway? So it's
I think they're all grounded
cycle.
right now. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
everything's
because
grounded.
domestic travel is
Everything.
banned or discouraged or something. So
but the whole hotel industry, the food and beverage industry, bars are closed, restaurants are curbside only. It's only all essential personnel,
Right.
which everyone thinks are essential,
Walmart.
and now it comes down to
Now
Walmart's the biggest essential.
Walmart's and truckers.
Yeah, and pharmacies, stuff like that. But
Right.
the trucking industry is probably booming.
Well, kind of. I don't think they've ever had to deal with a supply line this needed, and this. The reason it's slow is because no one's ever had to deal with a supply line that is needed this fast before.
Sure.
So everything's backed up,
Right.
Because the distribution centers are like,
Right.
we don't have
Can't
enough
keep up.
loaders.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
But do you think Walmart employees are getting paid more? Do you think they gave them a bonus?
I don't know. I
bet
do
they
know
don't.
I do know they are getting sick leave. Like if they're
sick.
If they're sick.
How kind of them. It's really pretty kind.
I wouldn't doubt if they are getting
I don't think they are one bit.
a little bit more.
I doubt it. I bet it's the same rate. They get more hours. Maybe the company sends them a pizza. You can have a break room, some donuts. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But I mean, this is the world we live in. Just because they're busier now,
I'm curious.
I don't think they raise their rates. I don't. Just like truckers, they're making the same rate. Maybe it went up a few cents per mile.
Well, they're probably getting more because they're driving more, but
They're driving more. They're earning more.
Right.
They didn't get that participation trophy of, okay, we're going to make more because we rely on this industry right now. Don't give up on us. But I don't think they're making more money for the same work. They just have to work harder and make more.
Yeah,
So
I
now
guess
they'll
so.
fall asleep at the wheel and kill people. But, hey, we need them. I get it. More power to them. But just like nurses and doctors and, they're basically, I've heard a story, they're making their own fucking masks.
Well,
How effective is that,
Yeah,
George? Come on now.
they're calling on people to make some masks for them.
Yeah.
But,
so they get sick, and then what? They got to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
But no.
I hear.
They're still working when they're sick.
I don't know if this is true, but obviously it's just all social media stuff. But
You heard it on Facebook?
I
It's
heard it
gotta
on
be real.
Facebook.
It's gotta be right.
Yeah, it's real now. But they supposedly they're laying off hospital workers because there's nothing to do because they're out of supplies. It's like, well, we can't
Wow.
protect you, so just go home because we don't have any more supplies.
And
So there's
again-
nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you to treat. We can't protect you, so we're not going to send you out there.
It's the liability once
The
again.
liability.
They don't want to put them in harm's way.
So now
once
we're not
again.
going to pay you to stay
Right.
home. So now you're just going to be laid off.
Everybody's laid off. This country is going to be bankrupt. There's no way. No one's working.
Before this, weren't we already in the trillions in debt?
Trillions, 23 trillion.
So-
now we're going to be 24 trillion. But I want my check. I do.
Of course.
I want my check.
Everyone's going to want to try for that check.
I'm getting a lap dance of mine. Come on, you got to enjoy life. Come on now.
Well, since it's going to be over, maybe.
Talk about lap dances. Those women are out of business. I want to know what they're doing.
Oh, I bet you some of them that haven't saved are shitting bricks right now.
Oh,
They're
God.
Going, oh my God, I wasted all that time thinking this was going to last forever.
Yeah.
And here comes this stupid virus that's going to end my career.
That's it.
And what am I going to do? I don't have any experience in any other
Nothing.
jobs.
They're so used to just getting money.
There's no way I'm going to work for $8 an hour.
That guy at Circle K suddenly looks very enticing, doesn't he? I mean, it's just so funny, but I mean, they're so used to money, hand over fist, and suddenly they're broke. I love it. I love how
You know
industries.
what? We need to get
decimated.
one of them on this podcast.
I can't wait.
Because now that they have time,
I want to know
now that they
their
have time,
true feelings.
I want to know what they're doing
I
too.
like it. I know what they're doing. House calls, but you never know. Think about it. Like, what are people doing for money now? You can get a lot for a fucking thing of toilet paper. I guarantee it, man.
Oh, I'll show you this meme later on.
Yeah. I'm telling you, some Cracker Jacks and a roll of toilet paper, you can get a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's
Supply
the
and
world,
demand.
The
Supply
world,
and demand.
The world might come to a trading system.
How could it not? The dollar's going to crash.
Well, the dollar's not going to be worth anything.
Well, what can you get? Well, you still need goods and services.
You go out there and no one has a job, so they can't pay for cash. Hey, I'll give you some food. You know what? I don't have any much more food. Okay, that's when the trading's going to start.
Absolutely. What are you going to do with money? For nothing.
Exactly. Yeah,
but it's going to collapse at some point.
Well,
if the zombies don't come.
Well, when the proposal of the $1 trillion to pay people come, the way to pay it back, from what I understand, is maybe some bonds, right? Some U.S. stocks and bonds. But who's going to buy the bonds when it's not worth anything?
Right.
So,
I agree.
Exactly. So the money's not even going to be worth it.
Well, I think we'd all agree. I mean, the world will go on, but it's going to go on in a different way. Like, I think it's just going to be different than 2 weeks ago. It's going to adapt to a new culture, a new way of doing things. I mean, there's 330 million people in this country. We're going to continue, but we're going to continue differently.
But the bad thing is the trading system will work good with things that are evenly traded. Like, let's say I make something out of wood and you pay with it for food, or I make something out of
the value of that
material
is based on what I think it's worth.
Exactly.
It could be a can of tomatoes.
What's going to happen to doctors? Just that alone, just that industry alone, they have the specialized skill of performing surgery. What are you going to trade with them? A year's worth of food?
I'm selling my daughter to them for a kidney. But you see what I'm saying? I know.
But I'm just saying, like,
no daughter here.
The trade-off to the people that have specialized or to have a more higher skilled, what are you going to trade with them?
I have no idea. This world's going to change. I think we could all agree on it. It's going to change, and it's going to change fast. I do believe in that, but
I hope we're wrong. I hope we're wrong.
I don't think we are.
I just don't see. I don't see where it's gonna where it's gonna.
It can't go back to normal.
The
new normal is going to be different.
And the thing is, it can't go back to normal in 2 weeks.
There's no way in hell.
So it's going to be a slow climb.
I don't think it'll ever go back to what was considered normal 2 weeks ago. I think the new normal is going to be very different, and a lot of it's going to be social distancing. I think it's just going to be different. I don't know how. I don't know if restaurants or
how's it going to work when no one's working?
Yeah, I mean, we got to put people back to work. The government has to help.
What work?
And if they don't help,
what work?
There has to be work. There just has to be. Why do you watch it if it's on TV? Well, because it's on. You know, I'm trying to remember that Seinfeld.
So the streaming industry is going to maybe make some money because people are going to have to watch something. But
they need entertainment.
So even then, I almost feel like, let's start investing in streaming. But who's going to? Is it going to slowly decline because people aren't going to have enough money to pay for streaming?
I think the streaming service, in my opinion, is going to skyrocket. I do think that. I think the movie theaters are going to decrease. Unfortunately, I do think that because there's really no incentive to go to the theater if people can see it at home.
Well, not right now when people don't have money.
Yeah, but they're either going to have to lower their prices or create some kind of environment that's going to be unique. But really, the movie theater industry actually is the cheapest form of entertainment. And the reason, once again, people like to do something special. They want to get out of their house and do something.
Yeah.
So you got dinner and a movie. So the chances of that truly going away is probably slim. But in this new age, you have, everything from bed bugs and violence and mass shootings and now, social distancing. There's no real incentive to go to the theater. Most people, the biggest meme now, it's Netflix and chill.
Right.
Nobody says, let's go to a movie and give me a blowjob. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Now it's Netflix and chill.
Drive-thrus.
Drive-thru is going to make a comeback, without a doubt.
Yeah.
That is the big thing. And there's so few of them in the country. There's only 220 of them.
Isn't there a porn one here?
Yeah, there is. Never been, but I'd like to go. No,
I wonder how it's doing.
There's only about 220 drive-ins left in the country. From the 60s,
I'm surprised
70s.
that there's that many. I didn't even know that this porn one was even operational.
It's up and running. I don't know. You never see it advertised. I guess you have to search for it, kind of thing. But there might even be less than 200 now.
But the thing is with the property, you got to buy property. So
very cheap though when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because you just buy property, you put up a screen, and you have a projector.
Well, yeah, that's one screen.
That's all you need is one screen.
For multiple screens, you got to have a huge property. Right?
Well, you could start it with one screen and then add on if you have the property. But most places, you're buying cheap property in the middle of nowhere. You put up a screen and one projector.
Yeah, that's true.
But you don't have a building. That's the beauty of it. I mean, I grew up going to drive-ins my whole life. I love them, But I'm very happy to hear that something's coming back. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's because of social distancing. People are safe and they feel happy in your own car. It's different, and that might be the next wave of movie theaters. When you think about it, you don't even need a building. You have literally a screen, which is a piece of shit, and you have a projector. That's it. And the rest is just parking. And nowadays with technology. It used to be you had a speaker on your window.
Oh, now you have
it's
your
just
radio.
Through the radio.
You have to put in a station, and that's it.
That's it.
And now people are going to have nice sound systems, and it's even going to be better than
better for the sound system companies even. So there's a lot of possibilities, and I could see the in the future drive-ins really making a resurgence of that. I would totally invest in that. Seriously, I see that as a big thing if it's done right. But I would put one up in this town. But again, real estate is it really viable? Like you're talking millions of dollars.
Great idea right now, actually.
A fantastic idea, and it would do good in this town because personally in El Paso the weather's perfect year round, even in the winter.
Right.
It's doable.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's a very good business, and I'm sure that porn house up the street is packed right now. So.
All right. Well,
that went too quick. Right? It goes too quick.
We have to. We have to wait for part two.
Lovely listeners, thank you for joining in, man. We appreciate it. I love talking to you, man. It just goes too quick.
Yes, sir. Get ready for part two.
Part two coming around.
All right, everyone. That is our time for this episode. Hopefully, you learned something new. Maybe we even connected with some of you at some level, or you were just plain entertained. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, always be grateful. Think of the things you have in life, and don't obsess about what you don't have. Keep looking forward, and always strive to be better than you were yesterday. Thanks. See you next time.
Sweet. Until next time, be kind. Take care.